We're still on right effort. And, you know, that's going to be with us the whole of the practice. So let's just get comfortable, right? All right. So once we've identified the troublesome mind state and steadied ourselves, the next skill we develop is to begin to feel it, to feel the effect of it on us and our system. This is actually where we will spend much of our meditation practice, learning to feel the art of feeling what is going on and not getting overwhelmed. You see, that's the trick, not getting overwhelmed. This is all about energy. It's all about recalibrating and reorienting away from stress and toward ease of well-being. Right effort is about growing our sea legs. So in order to do that, we have to pace ourselves. Life is overwhelming, shocking, really. Okay, think about it. The pandemic, how many of you thought you would be living in a time when you were living through a pandemic? Or how about January 6th? Shocking, really, shocking, really. None of us could have imagined that. So easy does it. We are going to get overwhelmed. We want to learn to get our sea legs and figure out how to restabilize as quickly as possible in the present moment. That will strengthen the foundation for us to learn how to not get swept away by the upset, right? So let's learn how to slow it down and get our bearings. Baby steps. That's how Bill and I like to think about all of this, baby steps. So when we say like we're angry or we're anxious or irritated, when those feelings are around, most of the time, we just act out of those feelings. We don't notice that they're there. We don't step back at a wider perspective and say to ourselves, gosh, I'm really anxious. Or boy, I'm irritated. No. We are in it. We are in it. We're fretting or we're barking at someone. We're identified, we're caught, we're overwhelmed, flooded by the emotion and the energy of it, right? It's hard to know what we're swimming in when we're in it. We've lost perspective. So as soon as we can see that we've gotten lost, overwhelmed, flooded, even when we're headed in that direction, we want to learn to swim out of that current, swim to safety, and then feel the effects. So I recall a situation when I was younger. I was swimming in the ocean and I got starting to get pulled out to sea by an undertow. And it took me a minute to realize what was happening. It happened so fast and I began tumbling and I panicked. But somehow I pulled forth the memory of my father saying, swim to the side to get free if ever you get caught in an undertow. And mind you, it took some effort to figure that out in the moment when you're kind of bouncing around, like even what does sideways mean when that's going on? But you just play with it as quickly as possible and you do it. And when I got to shore, when I got to safety, when I got onto the sand, to terra firma, then I could feel the full effect of my fear and the surge of adrenaline that was coursing through me, right? Well, it's the same in practice. Notice when you get swept away in the undertow of your thoughts, or the moment when you get swept away in thoughts or thinking. Swim sideways, get back to terra firma, to safety. Take a breath, come back into the present moment, into a body breathing, and then pass attention through the whole of the system and see how you're doing. How you doing in there? Observe and breathe, feel. Feel from the shore of the holding environment just enough to get a basic sense or feel for the pattern of tension that's present. Now gently shift that attention back to that sense of holding. You're right here on the ground. Just keep grounding and breathing and feeling and holding. Reestablish that holding environment. That's home base. That's where we smooth things out. That's where we let the rattle settle down, right? So this next move, once we've gotten to shore, the next move is to begin to feel that rattle. And this is an elaborate and delicate dance of sensing the disturbance, sensing it and reorienting back to home base so we don't get to overwhelm. sensing the disturbance and coming back to home base so we don't get to overwhelm. We rebuild that sense of coming back to those foundational elements of the holding environment. They're not there, they've gotten swept away. So we sense back into the physical form, into the body. We sense back into breathing. We sense into what that atmosphere feels like, and we orient toward that sense of care and attention. And as we do that, then we can just take a peek and feel the ripples that are passing through. Oh my, oh my. Keep breathing. Feel the ripples passing through. Oh my, oh my. There are many ways to do this, many ways. But let's consider a slightly more relatable analogy, the computer screen. I actually think it's an easier one in some ways because some of us don't swim. So we have all, to some degree, mastered the art of toggling between windows and programs. One is in the foreground and one is in the background. Right now, Zoom is in the foreground, and in the background is your home page of your computer screen. That home screen is your holding environment. And in that foreground is the disturbance that perhaps has come into view. Okay? Now, let's say you wake up and you notice that disturbance in that foreground. Like, holy smokes, you're looking at the screen, you're looking at the Zoom screen, and you see someone upset or something like that, right? You wake up and you notice that, and suddenly you're in this rabbit hole of agitation and fear and anxiety. Well, notice and name that. Take a breath. Take a breath, swim back to shore, swim back to safety, back to that holding environment. Just toggle back to that holding environment and feel back into the body sitting here, breathing. All right. Let me now just toggle back to that screen, and all right. Oh yeah, that's what's going on. Oh, I can feel that. All right. Okay, I get that tension and that anxiety, that agitation. All right, now let me come back here to that holding environment, to that home page. Let me just smooth it out there, right? It's remembering that that holding environment, that home page is always there, but it's been momentarily obscured by the Zoom screen. It's been momentarily obscured by the document, by the dread scrolling that we do on our news feed when we get upset. The home page is obscured. All we need to do is toggle back, though. So we deliberately learn to shift attention from that disturbance, from that foreground to the background of the home page. And we do that repeatedly, many times. But the first time we want to just like get that initial feel. Can you just like when you notice the disturbance and you toggle back to the home page, can you just get that first blush of what that feels like, the tone of it, the charge in the body? That's energy. That is unbridled energy. We want to tame that. We want to hold that. We're not ready to do that, though. So we want to toggle back to the holding environment. We want to get a sense of it, then toggle back. Get a sense of it, then toggle back. So I can restabilize. I can come out for a moment and feel that uncomfortableness. Oop, come back and restabilize and get more comfortable again. Oop, go back out, come back in. We're learning to do that. We want to know what it feels like, how the system is charged, how it's rattled, right? But the truth is that none of us want to feel it. No one. I'll tell you right now, I have a current example going on in the present moment, right? I'm aware of the rattle inside. I can name the upset. I can name it. I can just use upset, and I can take that upset and come back in, and I can feel the rattle in my body. Just get a flavor of it, and then, okay, let that go. Now I'm going to open my eyes. I'm going to look out the window, and I'm just going to settle my gaze there, calm down the nervous system. Feel that rattle, but I'm going to steady my gaze on the sky, because that's much more stable for me than feeling this rattle. But I can go back and forth between the sky and the rattle. Or maybe I can go back and forth between feeling my body on the ground, sitting just right here, breathing, and periodically sense the rattle. right? Each of us is different. Each of us has our own skills with this, and we want to see where we are with those skills. How comfortable are we with feeling, and get our balance, get our sea legs. No need to rush. No need to rush anything. Feel the rattle, come back in for a landing. Get a little more stable, then go back out. This is using energy wisely. This is using skillful energy to move away from suffering and move toward ease of well-being. So for today, we're going to add one meditative move here for working with difficult mind states. Last week, we went from seeing and stabilizing in the holding environment. See the disturbance and then come back to the holding environment. Just see the disturbance and come back in. Now we're going to see the disturbance, come back into the holding environment, and now we're going to feel for what that rattle feels like, and then come back to the holding environment. Okay? See what the disturbance is, stabilize in the holding environment, feel the rattle, come back to the holding environment. Boom, 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 boom. We're going to do that so we can pace ourselves and slowly find our sea legs, find our own sea legs. Okay?